Hello friends, welcome to my Princess Diana channel. Before moving on to the video, if you are not subscribed to my channel, do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so let's move on to the video. This was another trick against the king. Meghan's new brand causes even more serious problems. Meghan's jump into the jam market has set quite the fire, more so with speculations that she might be running some emulation for the famous Highgrove jam brand by brother King Charles. You're watching the Royal News Network. Especially Times Travel? Wow, I could be a Jeopardy champion. Okay, before we get into all that down to the last detail stuff of the jam saga, let's take a detour to see one more interesting turn of events. King Charles reached out to Meghan with an olive branch, suggesting that Meghan and Harry cause her children to reportedly return to summer in England. The invitation is made within the awkward relationship that Meghan and Harry have between them and the British royal family, principally with the children. I will see you next time. But for now let's park that discussion and focus on Meghan's jam debacle. For the ambitious part, many are saying that Meghan's new brand has received a response-only lukewarm reception. Many royal fans quickly choose King Charles's mother's high-growth strawberry jam over Meghan. Though, such a sudden upsurge of King's jam has, unintentionally, raised his income. Could it be such a revelation as well, that the king keeps forgetting to take Meghan's calls? Sure, that is an amusing theory but one that only feeds controversies stirred up by the latter's latest enterprise. But, let's put our jam side by side, and compare them with each other. Let's compare the two brands of jam. Which is, in fact, provided by none other, but King Charles's jam, and your cat's favorite. Highgrove's organic strawberry jam simply takes the ripe strawberries, it lightens them up just right with a splash of lemon. A jam made in limited quantities to a well-kept recipe administered with taste and having a fruity smell so full of scent it could never resist. It is packed in a solid wooden jar engraved with elegance and quality. Also, Highgrove's jam promotes a kind of philanthropic charm, as the king chooses the charitable organizations the revenue goes to. Nowadays, everyone agrees around Meghan's jam with the color element, as it is quite diverging, unlike various shades of Highgrove's taste. In fact, there is quite a rumor if Meghan's is merely a handful of store-purchased, Costco strawberry jam content poured into jars without any kind of preparation. Although the jam is directly competing with the kind of better food preparation that Highgrove shows for years as a vision of productive goods, as you can see these two kinds have nothing in common. It could also be that kind of jam that's made with low sugar, as per my guess. Meaning, it's a gloopy set fruit puree using some alternative sweeteners like stevia or xylitol, set with some thickeners like xanthan gum. That would explain the very anemic look it has as well, and these do not appear to be strawberries stewed in sugar. Those should have been much more deeply red. I am entirely aware that I am sensitive to xylitol and have fairly recently felt this. After eating a brownie made with xylitol rather than sugar, I experienced awful abdominal cramps and extreme pain all night, accompanied by the worst bloating ever. It's not something to be eaten like Choco. Even after eating something tiny, I should check a sample first, which is something I had to learn about the hard way. If she has given a whole lot of so-called friends food poisoning, also if this jam included xylitol that she didn't inform any pet owner about, then they all deserve to be eaten by the dogs. Because that's what ends up getting them, innocently, is the dog. Seriously, as I remarked on another, this is quite the most unfortunate accident waiting to happen. That is why my family eats only quality jam, for instance, King Charles jam, or I produce it independently. Every year, my sister and grandma produce jam, but never their strawberry from scratch looked like this. Mine looks much better and I have been producing it recently. Plus, at that time, they had not grown up yet either, they would not be red or juices. Few weeks too early. I practically live in the city of strawberry festivals, which is held annually in May, when the first ripe strawberries appear. However, I ate ripe small and very sweet berries of local production in Ontario, Canada. They are much tastier than the imports we get from California, Mexico. From the little I have learned with my grandmother and my mother, making jam, you had to take the foamy scum off the top extremely carefully as it comes to a slow boil. If you did not properly skim, for you got cloudy jam. Unless you had a thing for dark, crystal clear jam, then the strawberries must be pretty ripe, but not overripe. But, above all, it must boil gently. That is all I know about jam. Going back to, well, Meghan's jam, her jam is awful also because of the color, like ketchup has been dumped over it, a messy label but not even as pure as King Charles's Highgrove jam. The cover was haphazardly stuck on, it even doesn't have an ingredients list. Being rather mean, I have the feeling Meghan's jam is a copy of the Highgrove one. One thing that is the opposite of King Charles's Highgrove product is the money Meghan will get will not be enough to pay the bill for her private jet or all her luxury clothes, but in charity purposes like the father's. There is no way she eats so many damn jam. Meghan, on the other hand, is not wearing an FDA-approved organic badge, and I have always been aware that strawberries grown in the U.S. were one of the most sprayed crops. There are just too many reasons I do not buy stuffs for her, and that is another big reason. I am also curious what Meghan is planning, who she is even targeting, Americans? Americans eat jam, but that is not a fashionable thing over here, especially in California, where everybody is gluten-free and careful regarding sugar. It is not going to work. I do not know how she expects this to be famed. Why would people in SUC.K, would you buy this over something local? Is this a front for something else? As such, I would say a few words about the selling of pretentious and overpriced jams and jellies to the rich. People that hurt society by propagating elitism, developing wasteful consumption, and encouraging higher socioeconomic inequalities. Now, where does that fit in the causes they spoke of in the United Nations bloviating that caused elitism? Selling overpriced jams and jellies, catering exclusively to the wealthy, reinforcing class divisions, and by its very nature, leaving out those who can't afford such luxury items. This gives the rich an aloof and entitled mindset, further marginalizing the poor, seeing it as wasteful consumption. Emphasis on the luxuries in the food products range looks like provocation for superfluous spending and consumerism. Judging by the price of jams and jellies only leads to judgment status or brand and allows for some kind of a culture of conspicuous consumption, whereby the goods themselves are equal to the price and not to the value or usefulness. Socioeconomic disparities, an overpriced spread of jams and jellies promote and widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. In other words, this might divert important resources from the luxury market that might have been put into the use in filling up the basic needs of the marginalized people. And so, creating further inequalities in access to food, health care, or affordable costs for education. Overall, it seems the demand for King Charles jam has increased more from newfound awareness than a calculated snub against Meghan. While temporarily restricted in some EU locations, Highgrove Gardens do offer international delivery from the Highgrove shop section of the menu. Every purchase goes toward the King's Foundation, whether you're buying directly from a company that does nothing other than philanthropic acts. How unbelievable! By contrast, Meghan's completely uncreative spread is a dull distant relative of the cultured preeminence that the King Charles Highgrove brand represents. I guess Meghan's business structure is to steal the greatest ideas from people and recolor them into what looks like her own prodigy products. That's it for our video, my friends. I hope you have liked it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like the video. If you haven't done so yet, if you want to be first to be informed about my content, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on notifications. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself and stay healthy. I'll see you in the next one.